في كتير طرق وسط الحياة تاهوا فيها ناس، وطرق تبان مفروشة ورد وتنتهي بألم وضيق، لكن الطريق للفرحة وطريق الخلاص عند المسيح. أصل المسيح هو الحياة، هو الطريق.
And welcome again to The Way TV. We're back on the infiltration of Muslim Brotherhood, ISIS. Muslim Brotherhood, of course, is based on Surah 860 to wage war and terrorize the infidel. The first clip, before we show it, now we have proof, evidence, and facts. This is a cover page from years and years ago, 1998, the Muslim Brotherhood newspaper at UCLA, talking about what a wonderful and great guy Osama bin Laden was, the guy that killed everybody and was the mastermind behind the World Trade Center blowing it up. Osama bin Laden. A lot of people, you know, because it happened back in 2001, have already forgotten. And it goes into the clever stuff of Islam coming back with we're all about peace and love, but in reality, when you study the Quran, the Hadith, and the Sirah and the Sunnah, all that, it's really war and hate. They scream and yell peace and love, and it's war and hate. They scream and yell peace and love and war and hate. And what's going to happen in this first clip is the managing editor of Al-Talib, the student from the UCLA magazine in 1998. That would be Adina Lekovic, who's on the faculty at Claremont Bayan School of Islamic Theology, which I call Muslim Brotherhood theology. They wrote an article. She was the managing editor in 1998, and it's called Jihad in America. You can't see it. It doesn't matter. I have it. I can email it to you. And written in this article here, and this is under the supervision of the managing editor, Adina Lekovic, who in this first clip that we show, it gets caught lying by Steve Emerson that she didn't do this and had nothing at all to do with it, proving again that while she cries for peace and love, in reality, as a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, as a good Muslim, she believes in war and hate. Now, when she says peace and love, she means peace and love only for the Muslims, and since she's a Sunni Muslim, which is 95% of the Muslim world, she means peace and love only for the Sunnis, and certainly she means war and hate against the infidels and the Shiites. So this is common to Islam, Muslim Brotherhood, to cry lying through the four Arabic words, Taqiya, Kitman, Maruna, and Tariya. They yell peace and love, we love you, we love you, we love you. The Quran is all about love, and can't we all get along? When in reality, what they mean is the love and the peace is only for the Sunni Muslims or the Shiite Muslims if they're Shiites, and that in reality, for you and me, war and hate based on Surah 860 to wage war and to terrorize the infidels. So in this article here, Al-Talib, the student at UCLA, she was a managing editor, and the quote is in here, when we hear someone refer to the great mujahideen, someone who struggles in Allah's cause, Osama bin Laden as a terrorist, we should defend our brother and refer to him as a freedom fighter, someone who has forsaken wealth and power to fight in Allah's cause and speak out against oppressors. We take these stances only to please. So Adina Lekovic is responsible for that quote as the managing general or the managing editor of the UCLA paper. She cries peace and love, but really what she means is peace and love only for the Muslims and war and hate for us. So clip number 6. Clip number 6.
It's being recognized out there. We have to get Muslims to be part of the solution, and we do that by recognizing their legitimate efforts.
Listen, let me read to you just 3 different points here. And number 3, this is something that Ms. Adina Lekowicz should be very familiar with. When we hear someone refer to the great Mujahid, Osama bin Laden, as a terrorist, we should defend our brother and refer to him as a freedom fighter, someone who has taken wealth and power to fight in Allah's cause and speak out against oppressors. This statement was made after the '98 bombing, and this was made in Al Talib magazine,
absurd.
and that was Adina's, she was editor of the Al Talib magazine when the statement was made.
No, I was not. These are lies.
That's not a lie. You were an editor.
Absolute mischaracterization.
No, you were a managing editor of the newspaper.
Your research is sloppy.
Were you not a managing editor of the newspaper?
No, I was not.
You were not?
For your research?
You were not on the byline as a managing editor?
For your research to point out and to conduct this kind of character assassination is quite ridiculous.
Adina, were you a managing editor?
What we are talking about here...
Adina, were you a managing editor of Al Talib magazine?
I was a student at UCLA, and I was the editor of the Daily Bruin.
All right, we're going to have to leave it.
So that was the campus...
All right, so we just proved that. Okay, from the Al Talib, she was the managing editor, 1998. That article about loving on Osama bin Laden, a Sunni Muslim, was written under her supervision. So she got caught in the lie, and that is found right here. This is from the newspaper itself. Right here, it's got her name, Adina Lekowicz. The quote is right here, and the quote again, it goes back to how they use a lying, 4 Arabic words for lying, taqiyya, muruna, kitman, and tariya, and 4 different shades. She was lying, in that whole thing there. She got caught, and then she lied more. That's what they're taught to do in Islam, the Muslim Brotherhood in particular. And again, here we have, it shows a moderate, she's wearing a mask here of a moderate Muslim, but in reality, she's a radical Muslim. That's Adina Lekowicz. She is a radical Muslim. And kill the infidels wherever you find them, Quran 2:191. And of course, that goes back to the dispute and a discussion that under our way of doing business, under James 1:27, the cross, true religion is taking care of widows and orphans. But under Adina Lekowicz and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Claremont School of Muslim Brotherhood Theology, headed up by Jihad Turk, this fellow here, Jihad Turk, an interesting name, Jihad Turk, that he's in charge of the school there at Claremont. And they're working with Biola and Fuller Theological Seminary, the LAPD, the LA Sheriff. And here, really, the Muslim Brotherhood is based on Surah 860. The cross, true religion for them is to wage war and to kill the infidel wherever you find them. What that means is here, to take care of widows and orphans, James 1:27, true religion is taking care of widows and orphans. And under Islam, especially the Muslim Brotherhood, true religion is creating widows and orphans and then, of course, raping them. And here we have the very excellent image with the cross swords. You got the Shahada, the mask of the moderate Muslim, the radical Muslim. She's holding the Quran, and in truth and reality, this is from Quran 2:191 to kill the infidels wherever you find them, and it's all part and parcel of the Bion Claremont School of Theology. Now here, I took this from the Bion Claremont School of Theology site, and it says that they have a Bion Claremont was established in 2011, collaboration with the Claremont School of Theology and the Islamic Center of Southern California, which was started by the Muslim Brotherhood, funded by Saudi Arabia, funded by the terrorist arm of the Saudi Arabians who fund ISIS, Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, all of these different groups throughout the world. And that one of their goals is to raise up chaplains. Chaplains, it shows right here, to raise up chaplains so that they can actually infiltrate the Pentagon, they can infiltrate the sheriffs and the police and all these people too. It says the Islamic chaplaincy, and I call it the Trojan horse, how they get into these different organizations to infiltrate us and to destroy us. The Islamic Chaplaincy, the 3-year 72-unit Master's Divinity program, equips men and women with a firm grounding in Islamic thought. And, of course, they're talking about peace and love, and they will always say peace and love. That's amongst the Muslims, specifically Sunnis loving Sunnis and love amongst the Sunnis. But in reality, it's that you wage war and kill all the infidels. You war and hate. That's truly what they teach there. The cultural, is grounding in Islamic thought and cultivates practical skills in spiritual care, cultural sensitivity, religious leadership, and chaplaincy. Again, how to infiltrate the LAPD, the New York police, the sheriffs, the Las Vegas sheriff and police, all of the police, the Pentagon, and all these people with crying that they're all for peace and love, but in reality, they're really for war and hate. They're really for war and hate. You got to have 5 hands to do this job that I'm doing here today. The program at Bayan Islamic Studies, which is Muslim Brotherhood, almost all of the professors, in fact, I would hazard, all of the professors at the Bayan School of Theology have been vetted and appointed by Muslim Brotherhood. It was formed by Muslim Brotherhood, and the Islamic Center of Southern California was created by 2 of the most egregious and desperate of the Muslim Brotherhood. That would be the Hathout brothers, Hassan Hathout and Maher Hathout, who are good buddies with all of the different terrorists in the United States. So the program features courses in Islamic studies, including Sirah, prophetic biography, themes of the Quran, Islamic history, theology, jurisprudence, philosophy, and mysticism. Additionally, students benefit from courses in ethics, leadership, and in interreligious studies. Additional courses provide training in spiritual care, religious leadership, interfaith and intercultural understanding, and chaplaincy. Let's show clip number 2. Clip number 2.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most compassionate and merciful. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Praise be to God. We seek His help and His forgiveness. We seek refuge with God from the evil of our own souls and from our bad deeds. Whomsoever God guides will never be led astray, and whomsoever God leaves astray, no one can guide. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدٌ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. We declare that we bear witness that there is no God but God, the one having no partner, and we bear witness that Muhammad is His final servant and messenger. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Please join me in reciting the Fatiha. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen.
Okay, so that's the chick here that we just watched on the video that she said she was not the managing editor of the Al-Talib of the magazine, where under her supervision they said that Osama bin Laden was a wonderful and a great guy, and we all have to support him. She's doing the Shahada, there's no God but God, and Muhammad is His messenger. There's no Allah but Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. And of course that's why ISIS published my photograph along with my wife and my son to have us murdered. You can look at this. You can find it online. It's Dabiq, space 7, Dabiq, and then the number 7. Dabiq is D like David, A like Apple, B like boy, I like India, and Q like Queen. Dabiq 7, and in there because I mock the Raizuli, which I do indeed. I mock the man who, I mean, we're all upset about the sexual exploits of Harvey Weinstein and the allegations against Judge Roy Moore, but Muhammad himself had sex with a 6-year-old girl, and I get to that with the cartoons, pictures of cartoons there, because I do mock a man who masturbated between the thighs of a 6-year-old girl. Here we have Muhammad here and Aisha, 6-year-old girl. He's thinking about fornication. She's thinking about, I don't know, goats and sheep or the Quran, I'm not sure. We got another cartoon. Of course, this is Muhammad, And this is Aisha, the 6-year-old girl. And then we had Muhammad also with necrophiliac. Muhammad had sex with a dead woman. Here she is dead. And here's a picture of an Egyptian man. Not too long ago in Egypt, they passed a farewell intercourse law where you could have sex with your dead wife in the morgue up to 6 hours after she was declared dead. And that's based on Muhammad jumping into a grave and fornicating with a dead woman. He's a necrophiliac. So I do mock, indeed I do mock Muhammad. I have no feelings of honor for him. And of course, this is the Danish cartoon that sparked a lot of problems and stuff where they wanted to kill people merely because they showed the truth that Muhammad was a sexual deviant, that indeed Muhammad right here had sex with a 6-year-old girl. It's called thawing. Okay, now with Adina Lekovic, again, the girl that lied that she was not the managing general editor of the Al-Talib, and that she did indeed have supervision over writing that Osama bin Laden was a great guy, wonderful guy, and that he was actually doing, for the Muslims, Osama bin Laden was doing peace and love because he was supporting in peace and love the Sunnis of the world, when in reality it was war and hate going back to Surah 860. And we saw that, and we talked about that earlier. Now, we saw Adina Lekovic talking about the Shahada. Now, there's a Shahada, there's no God but God, and Muhammad is his messenger. There's no Allah but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Now, this is the flag of Saudi Arabia, and if you were just to cover up this part right here, then you have the flag of all of the terrorist groups, ISIS, Al-Nusra, Boko Haram, Abu Sayyaf, Amirs of the Caucasus, Al-Qaeda, Taliban. They're all the same because they're all the Shahada. There is no God but Muhammad, or there's no God but Allah, and Allah, its messenger, Muhammad. And that's what she was doing in that all-women's mosque there in Los Angeles. It's humorous to me as she talks about us being all misogynist as Christians. We're evil and wicked people, that the most misogynist group with the highest degree of hostility, disorder, slavery, poverty, and misogyny is Islam, period. And here's all of their terrorist groups use this flag, and this is the Saudi Arabian flag. You just take the Shahada and add the sword, and you got the flag of Saudi Arabia. You just take out the sword, and then you have all of the terrorist groups all over the world. Okay, so with that being said, let us go to clip number 3. Clip number 3.
كنت ميتا في بحور الغي والإثم غريقا كنت عابدا في قيود الذنب مملوكا رقيقا مد لي الشيطان من أسبابه حبلا وثيقا منكرات كنت آتيها غروبا وشروقا كنت ميتا في
There's the Shahada, and if you go, as I'm a former Marine Corps officer, when I was enlisted in Vietnam, I was fluent in Vietnamese. I was doing intel, counterintel work up by Hamburger Hill, not too far from there in 1969. I was fluent in Vietnamese as an 18-year-old kid, and sometimes I was in charge up to 40, 50, 60, 70 men, Vietnamese and United States Marines. And I learned intel the hard way, surrounded at night by the North Vietnamese Army, not too far from Hamburger Hill. You can look it up. It's called the Combined Action Program. General Mattis actually hired me years later, 2004, at $500 an hour based on how I had survived and thrived gathering human intelligence and then stopping the North Vietnamese Army coming into our area. So I understand that there's these symbols, these songs, these uniforms, these emblems, all of these things. And when they use the Shahada in all of the different terrorist groups, and the Shahada and the flag of Saudi Arabia, when they use the Shahada, there's no God but God and Muhammad is his messenger. When this religion is based on this pedophile, Muhammad, and that here he is, right here, an old man. He was 56 years old when he was masturbating between the thighs of a 6-year-old girl. Clearly, the guy was a pedophile, and then he had sex with a dead woman, necrophiliac, and in fact, it is so influential. You know, what did Muhammad do? 22 verses in the Quran tell the good Muslim, do what Muhammad did. So, according to this law, Adina Lekovic, if she passed away, according to the law that was passed in Egypt, the Farewell Sex Act, then her husband could go to the morgue, and within 6 hours of her death notice, then he could copulate with her if he wanted to do that. And that's all What Did Mohammed Do? And of course, you have an old pervert here, an old pervert right here. You can see he's kind of, it's pretty strange. And he's got a little girl because he was doing sexually perverted things with a 6-year-old girl. So all of this stuff goes back to James 1:27 and Surah 8:60. True religion is taking care of widows and orphans. True religion in Islam is to wage war and terrorize the infidels. So with that, let's go to clip number 4. Clip number 4. Okay, so again, then that goes back to the mujahid, if I say that right, mujahid, and this is the article that Adina Lekovic was responsible for the supervision over, and then here it is where it's written. It's got her name right here, managing editor, and down here it says, when we hear someone refer to the great mujahid, someone who struggles in Allah's cause, Osama bin Laden, as a terrorist, we should defend our brother and refer to him as a freedom fighter, someone who has forsaken wealth and power to fight in Allah's cause and speak out against oppressors. We take these stances only to please Allah. Now, in that last video, they kept saying mujahideen, the grandchildren of the Ottoman Empire. Now, the Ottoman Empire, they are the grandfathers of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, Taliban, Al-Nusra, all of the different terrorist groups all over the world, and they're all based on the Shahada, and wherever they go, they take the flag of Shahada. And so you have Adina Lekovic. She is a Bosnian Muslim, and she is linked to and related to the Bosnian Mujahideen. And so when she comes out and she starts talking about love and peace, she's talking only for the Mujahideen and their families, and she's talking only about the Sunni Muslims, not for the Shiites. And in reality, what she's publishing, if you understand Islam, that it's based on Surah 860, the Muslim Brotherhood, to wage war and terrorize against the infidel. It's war and hate against me and war and hate against you. Now, I saw in the news this morning where this Christmas, 2017, that ISIS is coming out after Santa Claus And after Christmas, here they show a picture. ISIS published this, so you got your typical ISIS guy all covered up. And they captured Santa Claus, and what they're going to do is they're going to try to attack all of the Christmas festivities all around the world. Now, here's a very good picture of the difference between ISIS and Saudi Arabia. And here you have ISIS right here, and you have Saudi Arabia here. And in this, the comparison is astonishing, but it's true. And how the United States, the LAPD, the New York police, the Dallas police, the police in Atlanta, Georgia, and Seattle, Washington, all believe that the Saudi Arabians are our wonderful allies. John Bolton, who's a former ambassador to the United Nations, George W. Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, all your key Republican leaders all believe that the Saudi Arabians are our allies. But when you look at this comparison, here it shows ISIS, and here it shows one of the leaders of Saudi Arabia. And what it says is that ISIS is a U.S. enemy, but Saudi Arabia is a U.S. ally. Here it says that they're authoritarian, and Saudi Arabia is authoritarian, fundamentalist. And by the way, Adina Lekovic and the Bayan School of Theology are all set in training the people to become chaplains to invade the LAPD, the NYPD, the police in Texas, in Arizona, all over the United States, in France, in the UK, that the Muslim Brotherhood are really, truly love and peace, when in reality what's happening, it shows the description here. This is the true face of Islam over the 1400 years. So the ISIS is fundamentalist, and so is Saudi Arabia. Oppresses women and minorities, so does Saudi Arabia. Death on human rights, so does Saudi Arabia. Uses corporal punishment, so does Saudi Arabia. Regularly tortures people, so does Saudi Arabia. Regularly beheads people, so does Saudi Arabia. And sadly, that Ms. Lekovic, she lies, as you saw in that video, and why I showed that video. She lies in public, which fulfills the basic tenets of Islam based on what did Muhammad do, 22 verses of the Quran. Tell the good Muslims to do what Muhammad did, and that would be to lie, the 4 different Muslim words to lie, Taqiyya, Kitman, Maruna, and Tariya. Now here again, with the same picture, here's a picture of an ISIS guy. They got a Christmas tree, shows a knife stabbing 2017, and so ISIS wants to destroy Christmas and kill as many people as they possibly can globally. And all of the different Muslim terrorist group, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, Amirs of the Caucasus, which is linked and related to Adina Lekovic and the Bayan School of Theology, all of them are linked together to go ahead and to do that. Here's another picture, pretty fascinating. And again, it's showing ISIS chasing Santa Claus, and ISIS has a knife ready to stab him. And what it says is, you disbelieving dogs. So I'm a disbelieving dog, and if you're not a Muslim, you're a disbelieving dog. You disbelieving dogs, which prepared for Christmas celebrations, be ready for shedding the blood, scattering the shreds, and funerals for the eyes of the caliphate lions are looking straight toward you and promise you with bitter deaths. Now, in those songs that I was showing there, and we'll do it again, they call us dogs, we who are infidels, and they are the lions. So as we go through this, let me see if I can get the attention to our engineer, because he's talking on the phone. Hey, Adam, if you could show clip number 3 again, clip number 3. Thank you.
كنت ميتا في بحور الغي والإثم غريقا كنت عابدا في قيود الذنب مملوكا رقيقا مد لي الشيطان من أسبابه حبلا وثيقا منكرات كنت آتيها غروبا وشروقا كنت ميتا في بحور الغي والإثم غريقا كنت عابدا في قيود الذنب مملوكا رقيقا مد لي الشيطان من أسبابه حبلا وثيقا منكرات كنت
And clip number 5, Hamza. You can cut. Okay, so we got 30 seconds. Everything's going great. Now, here's the leader of the Bayan School of Muslim Brotherhood Theology, working with Biola, Bible Institute of Los Angeles, Fuller Theological Seminary. We're going to continue on this like chapters of a book, probably for a full year, every week for 30 minutes. And this is actually going to be a book. When I'm dead and long gone, I've cataloged these. I've saved all the discs. I have them all outlined for my children and grandchildren. And in 30 to 40, 50 years, people will look back and say, why didn't anybody listen to this crazy old man? Merry Christmas. Adios. It's been fun.
في كتير طرق وسط الحياة تاهوا فيها ناس وطرق تبان مفروشة ورد وتنتهي بألم وضيق لكن الطريق للفرحة وطريق